So far on this channel, we have posted a one quarterback mock draft and a Superflex rookie mock draft. If you missed either one of those, I will link them at the end of this video. But I wanted to have some fun today and fantasize what a rookie draft would look like post NFL draft with actual landing spots. So I found a 3-round NFL mock draft from CBS that was just posted a couple days ago and filled out the first 2 rounds of how I believe Superflex rookie ADP would look like with these specific landing spots. So let's kick things off with the 1.01 because this is a Superflex league. Because he is the consensus quarterback 1 in the class, and because he does go top 10 in this NFL mock draft, I have Malik Willis, who was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks at 9 overall. And this fits with recent reports saying that the Seahawks view Malik Willis as a younger version of Russell Wilson because of his arm strength and his mobility, and it's even been suggested that they trade up to get him on draft night. He could be the starter on day 1, or he could sit a few games or however long behind Drew Lock. Either way, this landing spot would basically guarantee Malik Willis as the Superflex 1.01 in rookie drafts this year. At 1.02, I have Garrett Wilson, who was the only other fantasy player taken in the first round of this NFL mock draft, going just a pick before Malik Willis at 8 overall to the Atlanta Falcons. And it's another landing spot that makes a lot of sense, as a lot of people think Wilson will be the first receiver off the board. And we all know that the Atlanta Falcons need offensive weapons. This would lock in Wilson as Atlanta's wide receiver 1 for this foreseeable future, as they continue to build a young core with Kyle Pitts and a player that we will get to here very soon at the end of the video. So overall, I love Garrett Wilson to the Atlanta Falcons, and he will be my 1.02 in this Superflex ADP post-draft. At 1.03, I actually have Wilson's teammate Chris Olave, who gets the heavily valued landing spot of the Green Bay Packers at 22 overall. And I get that this could be viewed as kind of a Clyde Edwards-Helaire situation where we overvalue a borderline top 5 player at his position just because of landing spot. But I think it's going to happen because we're going to talk ourselves into the wide receiver 1 for Aaron Rodgers in Chris Olave. And it may not be right, it may not work out, but I just already see people just waiting to plug in whoever the Packers or the Chiefs take in the first round as the 2022 rookie wide receiver 1. So welcome to top 3 Superflex rookie value, Chris Olave. All right, at 1.04, let's finally move over to the running back position, because I know everybody's wondering if I forgot a player, which I haven't. So of course, the 1.04 here is the first running back off the board, and that's Kenneth Walker, who was taken in the 2nd round by the Arizona Cardinals. What, were you expecting somebody else? Walker to the Arizona Cardinals is a fantastic fit, even if he is in a sort of committee with James Conner in year 1, maybe even year 2. But this is basically a Javonte Williams situation where we are just waiting for Conner to either get hurt or be cut, and then that backfield is entirely Kenneth Walker's. And yes, Conner signed a 3-year deal just a month ago, but it's essentially a team-friendly 2-year deal where he can be cut after the 2023 season. And so we'll have to wait a little bit, but not too long, for Kenneth Walker to take over, and that's why he's my 1.04 in this rookie ADP. At 1.05, let's go back to the quarterback position, because this is a Superflex draft. And this NFL mock draft actually has Kenny Pickett falling all the way down to 32 overall to the Detroit Lions. And the expectation, if that were to happen, would probably be that Pickett sees the field midway through the season, maybe at the earliest, as the Lions kind of just sacrifice Jared Goff on what I would believe to be the final year of his deal, since they can cut him in 2023 to save over $20 million in cap space. This would also give Kenny Pickett time to just get settled into the offense and practice before actually playing, and then just giving him the best possible chance without throwing him to the Wolves immediately. And still, it's a young team. It's got Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift. Those are all good enough in the offense to help support Kenny Pickett's fantasy career as a top 5 rookie in Superflex rookie leagues this year. 1.06 is another quarterback, and actually draft before Kenny Pickett in this mock draft, and that's Matt Corral, who was taken by the New Orleans Saints at 16 overall. It's not the best landing spot for a quarterback per se, as Jameis Winston is solid competition that could force Corral to be on the bench longer than what we want, even for the entire rookie season. But the idea of a Saints quarterback with Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and then another player that we're going to get to very soon could be really, really enticing here in Superflex leagues to make that jump at 1.06. Let's move back to the wide receiver position now, to the 2nd receiver taken in the NFL draft, which is Drake London to the Houston Texans at 13 overall. In reality, this landing spot isn't all that different from Garrett Wilson, but I do think London is going to be penalized a little bit just because it's the Houston Texans and how we perceive them, being maybe the wide receiver 1B or wide receiver 2 to Brandon Cooks immediately, with Davis Mills at quarterback. On paper, it's not a good landing spot, and that's why he's here at 1.07, but I would be ecstatic to draft London in the mid-first on the Houston Texans in every single rookie draft that I'm in, because I believe in the player, I believe in the talent, and I do think that that is a landing spot that we would undervalue that would make Drake London a value come rookie season. At 1.08, sticking with wide receivers, we now get to the other coveted landing spot with the Kansas City Chiefs, who take Jahan Dotson at 30 overall, and this is just perfect across the board for both Dotson and his potential in the NFL to become a Tyler Lockett type of player with Patrick Mahomes, and it also fills the void left by Tyreek Hill better, in my opinion, than Marquez Valdez-Scantling can right now. And the only reason that I have him at 1.08 and not higher is because Dotson is not a consensus top 5 receiver in this class pre-draft. So I don't think people will be on board drafting their wide receiver 7 or wide receiver 8 before the NFL draft with a pre-draft rookie ADP in the second round of Superflex leagues, much more higher than the 1.08. And there's already a pretty significant bump, even with the fact that he is going to the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. That's enough playing around. I had my fun earlier alluding to the fall of this running back, but it's now time to discuss Breece Hall as the Superflex 1.09 from this NFL mock draft. And you're probably wondering, how bad is this landing spot that it dropped the consensus 101 down to 1.09? And well, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as one of the final picks in the second round. I talked about how Kenneth Walker would take some time to really see the field in Arizona with James Conner, at least to be fantasy relevant. But I think it's even worse for Breece Hall with Leonard Fournette. Yes, Fournette also signed a similar contract as Conner to where it's really only a 2-year deal and he could be cut after 2023. But why would Tampa Bay ever play Breece Hall over Fournette after what Fournette did all last season and the trust that Tom Brady has in him versus a rookie running back? Not to mention, what does this team look like whenever Breece Hall finally gets the backfield, but probably then without Tom Brady on a bad Buccaneers team? Now, I get that I probably exaggerated how far he actually would fall if this were to happen, but I still would bet that he's taken after Kenneth Walker as the RB2 in rookie drafts, and then other people would see the ceilings of Jahan Dotson and Chris Olave in perfect, ideal wide receiver landing spots, and then just be more inclined to go that route for more immediate production than waiting on Breece Hall. So that's why I have him down here at the 1.09 in the second round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 110, we go back to the wide receiver position just because of how deep this class is. And we take another first round receiver in Jameson Williams, drafted by the New Orleans Saints at 19 overall after they already selected Matt Corral at 16 overall. And this would be super fun whenever Williams does return from his ACL injury to think about all of those long touchdowns that Jameson Williams could catch from Jameis Winston as the explosive weapon in that offense. You would immediately be a starter on the team as the wide receiver 2, be a perfect complement to Michael Thomas as exactly what the Saints need on offense, which is speed. He only falls behind players that we viewed as better prospects pre-draft like Drake London and Garrett Wilson, and then gets bumped by a couple other guys because they landed in better spots like Chris Olave and Jahan Dotson. But most people would probably view this as a major value on Jameson Williams in rookie drafts though, but he is still here for me at the 110 in this rookie ADP. At 1.11, we actually bypass the one remaining first round receiver and we move into the second round from the NFL draft because the Packers double dipped in this class. After taking Chris Olave in the first, they take George Pickens in the second at 53rd overall. And this is a huge get for both the Packers and for George Pickens' value, where I could honestly see an argument that George Pickens would be the rookie receiver that we want in Green Bay, not Chris Olave, because Pickens fits much more of the alpha wide receiver role left by Devontae Adams. And if that were to be the case, this is a major value for Aaron Rodgers' true wide receiver 1 in 2022 and beyond, and what will help Pickens ultimately meet his ceiling for fantasy football. Then finally, to close out the first round at the 112, the other major faller in this draft and the last player selected in the first round of the NFL draft, we have Treylon Burks, who was surprisingly picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers at 20th overall. And this is a landing spot that could really hurt Treylon Burks' rookie value, much like AJ Brown to the Titans, Rashad Bateman to the Ravens, because there's a legit argument that Treylon Burks is the wide receiver 3 on this team behind Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, and then he'll also compete for targets with Najee Harris and Pat Freiermuth. Not to mention that you're probably not really excited to have Mitch Trubisky's wide receiver 1 in fantasy, let alone his second or third option, which would be what Treylon Burks is. This is just one of those picks that make more sense from an NFL perspective to replace Juju Smith-Schuster, but for us in fantasy, it kind of hurts and stings. And he's still a first rounder as a bet on talent and the potential that his situation gets better over the next 2 or 3 years, but it still really hurts, at least from the immediate value of Treylon Burks, and that's why he fell all the way to the 112 in this rookie Superflex ADP. Moving into the second round, I'll just throw it up on screen real quickly to run through the second round, because there are some interesting players in this early part, like Sam Howell going to the Atlanta Falcons in the second round, Christian Watson being taken by the Jets after they drafted 2 linemen in the first round. You have Sky Moore, a second round pick to the Eagles, which is pretty fun. Then the Chiefs also double dipped at wide receiver in the second round too, with Jalen Tolbert. So sure, I just kind of have him up there as the Chiefs guy that could be ascending due to landing spot. David Bell looks really fun as an Adam Thielen replacement here. You got Trey McBride as the third offensive weapon taken by the Packers in this draft, and potentially the new starting tight end over Robert Tonyan. Isaiah Spiller sadly falls to the mid-second as a fringe second rounder in the NFL draft, but to the Cincinnati Bengals, so that's a big oof on that one as strictly a backup. My guy Khalil Shakir is the Cleveland Browns' third-round pick to replace Jarvis Landry, and the wide receiver 2 with Amari Cooper, which I absolutely love. John Mechie gives Mac Jones another weapon. Dameon Pierce sneaks into day 2 as an Alvin Kamara handcuff. Desmond Ridder becomes the new Titans' backup quarterback, and then Calvin Austin I just threw in here as a 212 because he went to the Cowboys in the third round. And the only other fantasy players drafted were Alec Pierce to the Giants, Greg Dulcich to the Browns, and Isaiah Likely to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's it. No Rashad White, no Zamir White, no James Cook, Kyron Williams, Wan'Dale Robinson, Justin Ross. All those guys were day 3 picks according to this mock draft, and that's why they weren't included in the first 2 rounds of rookie drafts in the Superflex ADP. So that concludes the 2-round Superflex rookie mock draft based on actual NFL landing spots from a CBS NFL mock draft. So make sure to like this video. If you love this type of content, drop a comment down below on which landing spot was your favorite from this video. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for so much more rookie content as the NFL draft quickly approaches at the end of this month. And with that all being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch y'all later.